Hello again, Faith family. I wanted to ask today about your limiting reactant. In chemistry, there's a concept for a chemical reaction. To happen, you need to have a sufficient amount of all the reactants that are in the chemical equation in order for the chemical equation to push forward. And I'm going somewhere with this, so stay with me. But there's depending on whatever reactant runs out first, the chemical reaction can't happen anymore once one of those reactants runs out first. And we see this happen like when you have vinegar and baking soda and you're cleaning something. Maybe you don't have enough vinegar, and so the baking soda, there's always like a little bit of sludge left over, and the reaction happens, but then there's just not enough vinegar to make it go forward. And so I was thinking about this today as I was worshiping. I've been a worshiper my whole life. However, I was not taught freedom in worship. I was taught how to worship. I was taught that it's important to worship, but I wasn't taught to be free during my worship. And so there was always a little bit of constriction to that. There was an amount of, you need to be orderly, you need to look presentable, you can't make chaos in worship. And depending on where worship takes place, depending on the denomination, you don't do certain things. So I always kind of told myself that I was worshiping God, but in my own way, and in the way that I was taught. And I told myself that. Well, I recently had an experience at a conference, and they were talking about the woman at the well, and I was thinking about the woman at the well, and that Jesus met, and there's a really good clip of her in the Chosen, the series The Chosen, where she's running and leaping back to the village. This woman is shameful. She's at least ashamed of herself, whether anyone is treating her that way or not. She believes that she is not worthy company to be with. That's why she's going to the well in the middle of the day when it's hot and not with the other women. Jesus tells her that she's living with a man who's not her husband, and all that. It's part of the story. But after that, I was thinking about what this woman becomes a huge catalyst for bringing people to Jesus while he is in Samaria, and to go see a Jew, because the Samaritans didn't really like the Jews, and so the fact that this woman, who was considered shameful, would actually come or joyfully go back to the people that shunned her and treated her horribly, and tell them and get them to come and see Jesus. There had to have been something that she did that made that happen. And all I could come up with was that it was her incredible joy and change in her life that made everyone curious about, who is this guy who told you everything you ever did? And made them want to go see that. It was contagious. Her joy was contagious. And in Romans 12:1-2, it says to present our bodies as a living sacrifice. And it's our true and spiritual act of worship, to give our whole bodies as a sacrifice, as an act of worship to God. And so I was thinking about that and thinking about chemistry, because I do think about chemistry a lot as a chemistry teacher. The limiting reactant is what runs out. So the question I have is worship your limiting reactant? Is your worship running out? Or are you able to worship extravagantly? Are you able to offer your whole body as a living sacrifice in order for your reaction to take place, for the result that you want to happen, for the product that you want to be made in your life, for your vision to be envisioned and realized? Is your worship going to run out before anything else? Because I can tell you that mine was. I was not worshiping to the point that I was allowing God to get things done through me. Now, he has definitely chosen to bless me. Why, I'll never know. But I don't want the rocks to cry out for me. I don't want there to be any excuse for why I am not worshiping enough that it becomes it holding my product back, holding me back in my existence, in my life, and realizing the purpose and plan that God has for me, Lord. So I just wanted to ask you your own question. Is your worship your limiting reactant? Or is it a catalyst that's pushing you forward into what God has for you and the higher purpose and plan that He has put on your life?